my legs for this.
I love it. Here we go. We're here. Oh my gosh.
I was so grateful to have a reason to shave.
Okay, so we are live. We're back again for another podcast, and we are joined again by a special guest. So I'm so excited for that.
So welcome, Beth Benson. You are a fellow graduate of JFKU in the Transformative Arts program. So we haven't seen you for so long. We just want to know what you're up to in terms of art and in the world, because I think something's really exciting happening with you. So I have a feeling.
All the Spidey, the network is starting to light up, and all of us are, I think we started talking a little bit before. I see you better now with glasses.
I know.
It's 10 years later, and now I must wear them at all times.
I too.
Yeah, so I have been in the pandemic. Art has been a lifesaver. I've lived alone. That's how I'm living right now, and I've seen very, very few people. And in the Bay Area, looking out at that beautiful ocean that is so expansive and magnificent, I was getting, tighter and tighter on my couch, afraid. And I don't know myself to be afraid of anything. Right. And so slowly, I should show them to you. I made these, I don't know what you can see, I made these prayer flags, these coronavirus prayer flags, and just every day inking in and, inking in the outline and then coloring, sitting still and coloring. But I would wake up, I would make the outline, and then after my online job, I would come back to it, so that there was always something in its state of creation that I could show up for, wake up and show up for. And that began to help me remember art will always do that, right? It's the knowing thing that knows way ahead of us what we're supposed to be doing, what we're really doing in the world, how us doing that thing that I'll speak for me doing that thing for myself gives me back the self I can give to others, and that the work in its way also is like the network, right? It's a vibratory field that pulls people in to get what they need to get so that they can go on and do their own artwork. And I feel like when we were all in the hallway at JFK, that's how that was. Some magic web wove us into that dream. And then when I followed you to Lincoln Child Center and the work that you were doing there, and we did that eco art trail there, that was like a dream, dreaming us, I think, and everybody else who showed up for it. And now, now the network of us is expanding. There's stuff in Greece and there's stuff in Hawaii, and there's, we're everywhere. And I feel like we had that gift of education in transformative art so that we could light up wherever we are and let whoever else isn't going to make it to that hallway find what we took from it to get to open them into art and healing, and art is moving and art breaks, and the way that art gives you back your own innate connections, right, to what is alive for you. And rather than plugging into all this death and craziness and politics and madness, using the art to pull off some of that emotional stuff and pouring into, just seeing what are the symbols that show up on the page, what are the colors that want to get used, what is it showing me, and that coronavirus meditation that I was doing every day was showing me life. So how could I get in a situation where I could get out of paying Bay Area rent, have a little more foundational stability around my own financial wherewithal and health, And then how can I use that to let me expand in the art stuff that I've always been doing on the side of my life, like,
Mm.
you know, and put it and show up for it. Like, it's 10 years later. I'm 54. I will be 55 in another few months. Like, I don't have that much time to fuck around anymore. And so there's a new thing. I'm calling myself in the Bay Area for 25 years, I call myself the art maker poet, and was integrating art making and poetry and installation and exhibition and community building in the works that I made there. And here I'm calling myself the Crestline Creatrix and calling it this space, the Crestline Creatrix Matrix, because I think we are all, you know, when I think of you, I think of the creatrixes, creatri, I don't know, what is the where, you know, we're all doing it in our homes, in our lives, in our families. Sometimes we're lucky enough to get to do it in community. When we're able to open up and be in community again, aren't we starving to have art supplies on every sidewalk and engage with people in real creative ways? Like, how do we move out of this place where we've been cocooned, is the loveliest way to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Into, you know, expansive butterfly life. So that's what it is. You can come here for artists in residency experiences. There's going to be an eco art education center where people can engage just with what falls from the trees every day and what kind of art we can make on the ground, and who knows what else that will light up. But I hope it will give people who need, you know, I feel a lot of things about being alone. Like, I feel tremendous empathy for mothers who are working in traditional, show up on Zoom 8 hours a day and to be with your family and take care of your partner and feed your people and all that stuff. And I think I should make an oasis when you get to have a weekend to yourself where you can sit and think and sleep and have your own brain back. That can be part of what this space is, like a sanity sanctuary for some. And then if you want to engage in writing poetry and making art and throwing paint and talking about transformation, we can do that too. But that's what it's designed for the creatrix in each of us, and for the community, the network of us, to kind of get to light up and, you know, land someplace nurturing when you need it, and so you can go out and do all the things you're doing. It's sorry, I've just been you can tell I haven't talked to real people.
Keep going. I am just coming. I'm, you know, me, I'm here, and I am just thinking of how aligned this is to our last conversation, and what a great jumping off point, because it feels to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you began these lines, these crest lines, let's say, and you almost found your purpose. And that's exactly what we were talking to Ray about last conversation. And the reason we thought of you is because I've noticed that you have literally, you're doing what we want everyone in the world to do. You are integrating art making, taking an art break into your daily life.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk to you about what that does to a person. Like, do you have a sense of who you were prior to doing that to who you are now? I mean, it sounds to me like you discovered something, because you shifted your life.
Well, I mean, you know, we all have choices. Like, I didn't die, you know, I thought for a long time I was going to die. So then I thought I better get all my shit together so it'll be easy for my kids to clean up and know what was important and get rid of things that aren't, you know, like, you know, here's what I want you to know about this person that was your mother, and you can throw it all away if you want to, but these were the things that I cared about. So first there's that level of integration, because I didn't know if I went outside if I was going to meet somebody who was going to lean on me or whatever, you know, like, or if I was, you know, whatever. So after it wasn't about death anymore, it had to be about something. you know, there
Mm,
had to be some looking forward too. And art, I don't know that it's changed. It's been a constant
yes,
companion, my absolute best friend since I was 4 years old, running around the
right.
basement of the Nelson Art Gallery. You know, my mom worked nights, she'd drop me off. I took art classes on Saturday morning. It gave her 3 hours to sleep in the car. You know, like, and I got to run around and find the Kuan Yin, right? Like all of these amazing things that are still alive and awakened in me from then. And so the art making has again been a constant companion, but also the thing I did after I was done doing whatever I thought I had to do to be able to pay my rent, you know? So
Uh-huh.
I got moved to the margins of my life. And um, in the pandemic, there was no commute. There was no, there was turn on and be animated and interested in your Zoom meetings 8 hours a day, you know, and do the computery thing. But there wasn't a, there was that, and then I would close that part of the life. Like I had a separate computer for that. And then I would open the artist computer. And then there's no more, like the Zoom fatigue, I think, is real. This
Oh yeah.
interface, this artificial interface with what looks like real people in beautiful places isn't the same as being in the aloha, like the presence of the safe and healthy breath of one another. So I needed a friend. You know, rather pathetically, I needed, you know, more than just, and that has always been available. Like
So
my,
art, yeah, so I hear you saying that it's been your constant, and then it became almost this like personified thing that you turn to during such a lonely time. I will tell you, it doesn't matter if I live with 4 other people and 2 dogs, and it's still a very lonely time.
yeah,
And Lisa and I have talked about this before. It's because you feel a huge disconnection from people. And I think I don't, and so I can see how you would turn to a constant like art that you had always relied on because it was there. It's been there for you.
yes, yeah, and it's you know, it's my healing modality. And there've also been tons of things in the news or in my feed where I've been fed toxic shit, like toxic headlines and toxic behaviors and toxic stories about human beings I've never met, you know, who are upset enough to do crazy shit according to me, but I'm not in a world where I can have a conversation to understand where those things are rooted. Some things misaligned. And so the art gave me like I could go into, just like Pat B. Allen taught us, right? I can go in with an inquiry. I can set my intention. I can let go of my intention and make art. I can follow my pleasure. I can create a thing that's external to me, and then I can ask it for its wisdom. And this coronavirus prayer thing really was prayers of protection to keep my kids alive. They were on other coasts and in different places. And, you know, and prayers of protection for my aging mother. And, you know, like prayers of protection. That's what it was. You know, I didn't want to die. I didn't want them to die. And, you know, with that came, I think I could look at it and make decisions about it, but it was never black and white, because so much of my life is about Black Lives Matter. And that headline, that it's not about a binary. It's not about, you know, it's about life and how do we all get to live it. And that's what the work began to show me. So I wasn't in fear anymore. I didn't draw crazy coronavirusness, you know? But you know, yay for everyone who did, right? There are lots of artists who did and took that path and created their own synapses of understanding in that way. But mine was, you know, magic markers and silver pens, you know, to like color with inside and see what it would show me. And so showing up for it every day has been great. The balance of life and work, and you know, like in this moment, I send resumes and I get rejected because I'm looking for work. And so if you're seeing this and you need an animated artist in residence in your company, you should hire me.
All right, way to plug. I have a question for you. So
At some point I thought, all right, writing and rewriting the resume is not as useful as for, do that, keep doing that, but also begin to explore these other things. Like, is there, like I wrote a grant for a little mini grant for this 33 trees project that I now have for the Crestline Creatrix Matrix. I have 33 trees on the property. They are giant, beautiful cedar trees and redwood trees and in various stages of love. So I made these love letters for them. I'll show you if you can see. And I want to figure out now how to make some kind of sustainable plastic or not plastic. I don't want to buy anything, and I want them to live outside with the trees.
Oh,
So I have
cool.
to
Mm-hmm.
love the new problems I'm creating for myself to solve with this stuff in my house. Like I'm doing now this Pachamama Alliance offers Awaken the Dreamer and the Game Changer Initiative. And so to marry with all this other stuff going on, some deep, real education in climate right now, super important to me. And that is an amazing group of people who have, accessible education and small group conversations about what the impact of the trash that we're creating is now heavier than the planet itself. So what are we going to do about that? And so what I'm going to do about that is look carefully at any container that I bring into my house and know that I'm making a long-term commitment with that container. I'm going to find a way to turn that into art or usefulness, because it's going to be alive for 80 years or 100 years. Even if it's recyclable, it's going to be in somebody's landfill somewhere, disintegrating into microplastics that get in everything we eat. Like, we have to stop all that. And so my artistic transformative art response to that is to create some consciousness about what I bring into my life, to recycle and to buy direct from individuals who are recycle and upcycle stuff that they're getting rid of or throwing away, and to to really think a minute before I make long-term relationships with plastic bottles that I don't make with people.
Okay, I have a question for you, Beth. So you're talking very personal, and your story is really powerful. How can we make it universal? Because I think a lot of people are in the same mode that you are in, that they're in fear and they don't know a way out. How can we give our audience some like nuts and bolts? Like, how do you become you? You know what I mean? How does art become your lifeline? I mean, art is my lifeline too. So I'm
Right.
with you, but we want to communicate with the universal so it's say that mom, who's alone and she's fearful. I mean, literally can't get up her couch, but art is the way. How can we give them tools or support that art can be a daily process? Because I love what you said is you did the outline of the of your prayer flags, and then you knew it was waiting for you, and then you went back to it. So I'd love to kind of like give it to the universal, or give it to
Thank you. Well, I mean, we are those, like, a couple of us have been moms. We're human beings on the planet. We're artists. We're not unique. We do some extremely cool, unique stuff personal to us, but every human being, which we know, like, has innate creativity inside of them that got stopped somewhere for money, usually. And now, please, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 40 seconds a moment, sing in the shower, pick a word in the morning, sit in silence for a second, let what's inside of you rise up, You know, there's a thing that you're on the planet for, and it's creative. It's, you know, it's about what you and only you can bring here, you know, and this is true for all of us, and it's true for each individuated one of us. Every single one of us arrives here perfectly with clear direction about what we're going to create while we're here, what we're going to learn through creating. And then stuff happens. So just opening the channel to show up at a blank page, and you can hate it and you can wad it up and throw it away, and you can do that 20 days in a row, and then you can come back and make a mark, and then you can, but like in any, so many people are reaching out for therapy right now, which I think is incredibly important and valid and valuable, and people need it. And if it's talk therapy, that's one dimension of what's available to heal you. And inside each one of us, like, and I believed this forever, and now I've had this year now of experiencing it, like the organism, the universe that each one of us is. You know, we're not a drop in the ocean in a drop. Like, you know, we have inside of us everything that wants to spill out, spill over, and affect one another. And typically, we each want to do that in a positive way, right? That helps one another, that at least helps the people we're closest to. And when I was an active mom and my kids were little, we had the breakfast table of trying, and we would eat food, and we would practice letters, and we would color, and they would make the work, and then I would make my work, and then later their work became the pages of the books I did my morning pages on top of. Like, so there was an ecosystem in creation even that can be integrated as a family. Okay, we're going to have, you know, Friday night talent show, you know, and sing a song and paint a picture and be goofy, tell a joke, play a game. But find, you know, my kids and I used to play YouTube roulette. Like, I knew stuff they were never going to know if I didn't show them, and they knew stuff I was never going to know. They're my conduit to whatever was happening in their music and artistic space and reality. So we would play YouTube roulette. Here's something I saw that I love, and then it would be the next person's turn and the next person's turn. And so that, again, Pat Allen, in that first moment at JFK, she said, follow your pleasure, it will never lead you wrong. And that is like the most radical reality of all for me. Like, it's true. Like, if I do what I love, if I follow what I love, if I pick the color I'm most attracted to and I make a mark, that's going to take me somewhere toward love, toward wholeness, toward integrating my own, you know, mind and body and soul system, such that I can make more choices rather than the limited, crunchy, tight, it's not like it used to be choices, right? It's not like it's used to be. It's never going to be like it used to be. Please, God. God, it's all the things that we created to believe in. Let it be, you know, let it be us. Let us care about one another. Let us, you know, let us work together creatively to, you know, to build into a workday. Like, the most beautiful, this company that got started from the company I left, they just had this beautiful talent show over Zoom for their big company opening, and people got to be themselves in the gift of their creativity and offer it to people that they work with. Like, that's a revolutionary thing that all businesses can do tomorrow, you know. You know, and so that's, I really feel that if we show up for what we love, if we do what we love for a moment, for a minute, you know, and the next day 1 minute more, you know, and the next day 1 minute more, it's the, you know, it's the idea of working out for 20 minutes, which I still don't do physically, but I'll garden to get there, or I'll go for a walk to get there. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I always attach taking an art break very similarly to eating right and exercising, because I do think it's that important. I do think that it's a, you know, everybody's talking about it being a lifestyle choice. And I think it's a lifestyle choice. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they think that they have to, be a quote unquote artist in order to take an art break. And I think that's what Lisa and I are on a mission to do, is to separate those two things. And what I'm hearing from you, that I definitely relate to the, if you need to just crumple it up and throw it away 20 times before you're open enough to stop judging yourself. I think that is what people, you know, that's the audience we're trying to speak to, because those are folks who had that experience that you alluded to at the beginning of the conversation. Something along the way put up a wall, some sort of concrete wall in front of that creative person, and then that inner critic started sitting on their shoulder telling them that they can't draw and they can't do that. So I love the crumpling up notion of it. And I also love the notion, I love YouTube roulette, I'm totally going to do that with my kids. Something that is approachable, that's something that, oh yeah, okay, I can press a couple buttons and I can share a music video, I can share this the ballet that I saw and that's still an art break. That's what I want to get across. That's still an art break. You're doing it, and then just keep going.
What I have loved about your project over the years that I've gotten to observe it is that it really is, it is put a crayon in human beings' hands. You know, it is Harold and the Purple Crayon again and again and again. If you want something, make a picture of it, you know, and it does not have to look like the cow. If you can call it a cow, and it can be a cow because Picasso made that possible, right. Or whoever is. Anyway, I have a thing I won't do right now, but but I do think that maybe it's still that Picasso quote, like every child is an artist, and the point is, how do you remain one when you grow up? Yeah. Something like that. I'm bastardizing it.
Yeah.
But that like, we have innate talent. It is only in us. Like, mine is in me, yours is in you, yours is in you. Your kids are watching. You know, if you're a mom at home, your kids are watching. If you're not happy, start coloring. You know, if something's going on, you know, if something's crunchy inside of you, start dancing. You know, like do anything that lets the rest of your intelligence back in your life. You know, these learned, you know, somebody did, some teacher somewhere, right? There are all kinds of there's lots of support for artists who grow up and make it as artists in the way that you end up knowing about them in the world. That happened because some teacher said, I see you and you can do this. Mm-hmm. In the same vein, the people who get stopped, who are supposed to be, you know, the fullness of themselves in their humanity, also use that story about the concrete block and the inner critic. But then I always want to make that real, like all the metaphors we use to talk about life as war, or like, you know, blocks as concrete, like go get a concrete block and make an inner critic and see, you know, and see who you can smash, you know, like art lets us do that, right? We can actualize in real, tangible physicality the symbolic stuff we need to shift, you know, and we want to shift because everybody who's got a song in their heart wants to sing it, you know, like everybody who's got a desire to feel what it feels like to pull the paint across the canvas. Like that's a gift you can give yourself. You can do it with your leftover spaghetti sauce. Like it's like, it does not have to, we don't have to put, and please, I think this is what coronavirus has taught me, like don't put anything over there for later. Right now, whatever you love, you know, do it with your own ability and passion. You have a global permission slip to do that right now, to do anything that makes you happy and keeps you alive, right? Like anything that helps you through your grief, anything that helps you through, you know, through the sadness. Creativity is the most beautiful, you know, like I can listen to Adele and cry anytime I need to. Right? But because she did the power in the song, she put the transformation in the song, right? So where one's own personal transformation is in their creative gifts, whatever those were. Dust them off, get them out, unpack that box, and begin in
Well,
whatever way, begin.
I'm looking on our Facebook Live, and Hudson from Lincoln Child Center, remember her?
Yes, I love her.
Yeah. So I like her feedback. It says, I feel I've lost my community of fellow creatives, and I need to find it again.
Yeah.
So 2 parts to that.
You froze, my friend.
That reflection is she had a community. What do you want?
Hold on.
Did you hear me, or did I freeze?
No, try that again, Lisa.
Okay.
2 parts.
So 2 parts to the question. Her comment was, I feel I lost my community of fellow creatives and I need to find it again. But what I'm also, the second part is for that person that wants to, she's inspired. I'm going to make the mark. You know what I mean? I'm going to find my artist self. I'm going to awaken the creatrix matrix within me. How can she find her community? So one who had a community and feels a little lost, and then that wants to find a community. Let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
What I have been loving, Facebook is a beautiful connecting system. It's also fraught with problems that I don't choose to think about. At JFK, I consciously chose Facebook as a way to press the publish button every day. I was going to do something and put it in the world one way or another. And people could self-select. They could come and go. Community can come and go. So in the ways that your social media is available to you, that is a way to build community. In addition, almost all of us are offering online Zoom classes or you can show up and you can dip out as soon as it's not for you, or you can stay in it, take advantage of people's free classes. Later, they're going to ask you for money, just know it. And then dive in and do as much of it as you want or not. And then Hudson, I love you. Come home. Come here. And then, open your mouth and sing to the trees. I don't know when you did that last, but at Lincoln Child Center, you did that for us. And I got to witness, and that was an amazing gift. And your singing brings the community. At the Poetry House, where Hudson used to come and perform, Kat and I had this conversation, Kat Baumgardner, who was also part of our JFK world. Is it the art that brings the community, or the community that brings the art? And either way you start it, either way, the art will attract a certain kind of energy, and it's connected in a morphic field to all the other kinds of ways people like the colors you use, or the lines you use, or the symbols you use, like that will light up for you. And so make the art, that will bring you community, or find one friend, and I'm happy to be it, and say, this is what I'm going to do today, and you can also.
I like that idea of just finding the one friend. And even if you're the type of person, if Hudson is the type of person that needs to be accountable, right? You can find that friend that will kind of hold you accountable. Like, hey, just checking in, no judgment. Just wanted to see if you took your art break today. And I think it's powerful, again, I'm going back to that notion of exercise and eating right. It's, it's like that. I'm doing like a push-up challenge with my husband. How many push-ups have you done today? I'm like, ooh, I better go do those, and it becomes like a fun game, and it lightens the load. Like you were talking about, it's not, you stop putting pressure on yourself, and you have a little bit of fun with it, and you stop feeling guilty, and you just realize that it's, it's just this nice reminder that you need. So I like that one friend, and then that one friend can turn into so many friends,
Absolutely. And, and it can be even a Facebook friend. It can be somebody's art you like. Hey, can I check in with you every day? I want to start making more art in my life. These kinds of things, we're open to each other to that degree in some in a creative sphere, I believe we're always open to each other like that.
Mhm.
Like you
Yeah.
say you want to make it, and I'm doing my thing, and you say you want to do your thing. I'm all for, like, I believe that we support one another. I believe if we don't support one another, no one's supporting us. But before I do that kind of downer, I believe that a creative community is a loving community and interested in generating more of itself, and that I believe if you will risk to make the first move, like things, reach out,
Mm.
that will bring you into community. But also, if you don't have physical people around, like, don't forget the living community you are always a part of. Like, make friends with your trees.
Yeah.
Make friends with
Yeah.
your plants. Don't kill your spiders. Like, find a way to coexist. And in that way, please understand, like, there's a thing, like, you're in a still life right now, but it's a life and it's alive. And that's that I find for myself, I made up in my loneliness throughout different phases of my life, that my higher power is a jealous lover. And that in the times when I don't have physical connection to other people, it's so that we will have our alone time with one another. And inside of that creation of relationship, then I have another way to focus. And for me, I'll pick Kuan Yin off the shelf because she was the 4-year-old goddess I met in her tree form at the Nelson, right? So that's if there's a symbolic connection for yourself with a beautiful symbol you've always loved, please engage. You're a part of the morphic field of that. And that can sometimes, faith is a big damn deal. It can help people through all kinds of things. Have faith in yourself.
But also, I mean, obviously you're alluding to that there is something larger than us out there. And I think nature, when you tap into nature and connect with nature, I mean, go outside and do eco art, and wow, I mean, I was in Muir Woods today. I'm in Mill Valley, and the gentle giants, I mean, they're so, the spirit, you can feel it. And all you have to do is spend some time in nature and, like you said, collect objects, and then you find something larger than you, and then you're like, whoa, you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, the first thing I would do, and told my kids to do when they went far away from me, was find the biggest tree in your community and put your back against that tree and ask, the dignity is your height, right? Ask your dignity meridian to, like, see from the tallest place, because and then feel into the widest width of that thing, because that's holding you, and you're in her house now, right? Like, she's been here longer and she's holding it around, and so make friends with that thing that's bigger than you and older than you and actually alive, and then build a relationship in such a way that you can always go there when you need whatever longevity and vision is necessary for your survival.
I love this. I haven't lived alone a lot in my life, but I did live alone, and I turned to my camera, and I didn't realize it at the time. I turned to my camera and my video camera, and over time, I'm pretty sure I had like long conversations with those items without realizing it, like almost telepathically, because the work I was at JFK at the time, and the work I was making was extremely, extremely personal. And it was as though I was having a conversation with my camera. And so I would say, so I love these ideas of getting out into becoming friends with things you wouldn't normally think to become friends with when you're alone. And I think you can do that. And it's certainly a place to start. And that's what we keep coming back to, I think, Lisa, is where do we start? How do we get these folks to start again? Because we know that it's so important that they keep going, but that it's okay if they need a reminder to start again or just start to begin with. And I just want to quickly mention, we have lots of people kind of saying hi, and I want to say hi back to them. We have, we have a hi from Amy and Suze and Joy. Just check out something that Joy put in the comments. Joy has been part of Art Break Day for quite some time. Hi, Joy. And she put in
8 years she's been doing Art Break Day in Stockton. And she tells me we've known each other 18 years. I feel like I'm 18 years old.
Yeah. She put something in about the inner critic, which I think everybody should check out and read. I love that. And we've got some great comments here, so we can have an ongoing conversation in the comments below. I love it. I don't know if anybody has any last thoughts before we say bye for today for the conversation.
What I would love for Beth as our guest, give us, because we always try to end these conversations with an art break. Give our audience an art break that they can do today.
Okay. I was doing one before we got on board.
Okay.
I'll say one thing and then I'll talk about the art break, but start ripping, just like have a beverage of your choice. I've defaulted to water because I'm that old now. And just rip out images you like from anything you have. If it's a magazine, if it's, those mailers that they send you, if you've kept the piece of paper, there's a reason for it. Rip it up and feel yourself ripping it up and try and take the piece that you love the most from the image, right? And then slap it on something round. This, I think, is a pizza box.
Great.
And do it until there's no white space left. And then turn it over and do it again. And you can take all month to do it, but I try and do these once a month. They extend from Judy Shintani, who went to school with us, does the mandala project at the beginning of every year. And so you spend the first 12 days making your mandala, which is like your calendar for the year. And then I always feel like I want to keep going. So this collage, it's the first day of March. Oh. It's the Women's Month. So, pick pictures, and you can use pictures of yourself and your family. Like, it can be any piece of paper, rip and stick and be in a round thing. And the other thing I'll say just quickly, that the two things I knew my kids needed from me to make it to who they were supposed to be was permission and encouragement. And I will be you can write to me on Facebook. I will give you a permission slip for any creative expression you are willing and desirous of doing in your life. And then always you will find encouragement from me to keep going, to keep expressing. The fullness of your expression is it lights up the humanity of all the human beings you're connected to. It's necessary that you light up. Whatever lights up.
I could not agree more. I love permission and encouragement. That's so great. And I think I love that reminder that like what you do matters. And it, that's what you're saying. You're saying what you do matters, and it does. And I'm from the camp of like absolutely everything you do matters, right?
Agreed.
And the thing is that you even the smallest thing will light up someone else's life. I love that. I love that.
I see you. You're saying that. You know what I mean? When you create, you're saying I see you. Which is, we all want to be seen, right?
We are here. This is us.
Yeah, right.
We have, if you're in a body, you have permission, to be fully self-expressed. Now get to know who that self is, because otherwise you're just passing. Anyway, we don't have to go to the otherwise. Just whatever way you can open the trickle, let it begin.
All right. Great conversation.
Love that. Yes.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I love and honor you both. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Oh, same here. Thanks for joining the conversation. It's so nice to have more voices joining this conversation, and I can't wait to keep this conversation going in the weeks to come. So thanks everybody that commented and chatted and everything. And we'll see you in a couple weeks with another question and more conversation.
All right.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Create.
Thank you.